Take 3. Coming to Megan Sylvester in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good day. My name is Megan Sylvester and I am a music sociologist. And we are currently doing interviews with WACK TV and WACK Radio. And we're focusing on Calypsonians, trying to get a sense of who they are, how they were impacted by the industry, and how they started in the business. Today we are focusing on designer. Welcome to this interview.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So your name is Keet Prescott and your sobriquet is designer. You also have another sobriquet, Keet Styla. But first, tell us a little bit about designer as a Calypsonian.
Well, I started out in the mid-70s singing on Auntie K. Went into the junior calypso competitions and then got a break in the tents. Started out with Shadow at the Masters then. And well, actually, I started out with Kingdom of the Wizards. Didn't do a whole season with them. And Shadow formed his own tent the next year. So that was 1979. And we were up opposite NUGFW Hall in Port of Spain. And from there I became a recording artist and everything, came to where it is today.
So, the people are very interested to find out what goes into making a Calypsonian. How does an individual, because you started as a child, as a youngster. So tell us a little bit about the influences that would have led to you becoming involved in the art form.
Well, music was always in my house. My father was a lover of calypso music, local music. My mother was always singing. My father sang in the tent for a little bit, sang calypsos in the tent for probably about 2 or 3 years. And so it was always there. The music was always in the house. And as a child, I met some of the Calypsonians because they were friends with my father. And as far back as I can remember, I love the music. I love music in general. And those were my early influences.
So are you a writer?
I'm also a writer.
Okay.
I wrote quite a few of my songs.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my father and I, we were partners, songwriting partners. Because he's a very good lyricist. And I was the music in that partnership. So I would do some lyrics also. And throughout my career, I've always collaborated. Collaboration is great. And especially when you're a recording artist and the time strain to get songs together for an album. It's a phenomenal job to be doing that on your own.
Okay.
Kitchener, you gotta take your hats off to him. Right. I understand he never sing anybody else's material. So I on the creative end, I was very much involved.
So you have some signature hits. Feeling Nice is one of those hits that, really, really propelled you into the limelight. Tell us a little bit about the writing that would have gone into that and how that came about, Tell us about that.
Feeling Nice was a collaboration with Austin Lyons, Super Blue. Very good friend of mine. I had done records before Feeling Nice, but they were limited releases and they were out, it wasn't carnival releases, I think 1 or 2 of them. But this time I made the National Calypso Monarch Finals in 1982. And I used to have a difficult time. We had a difficult time getting recordings, getting a record producer. So I went up to New York City. I usually used to go spend the summer with my grandmother up there. And I went up there and I went to see Ralston Charles. Well, actually, he told me to, the night when I was in the finals in the Savannah, he told me to come and check him after the season. So we went up and I had some songs that I had written, but he didn't like none of them. So I went to Super Blue and I told him, I said, man, you know, you don't like none of these songs. So I said, but I have this hook. And he said, let me hear the hook. And I was feeling nice. And we started working on the verse, comedy story and stuff. And we went back to Charlie. And he said, yeah, I like that one. And we went with it, and the rest is history.
So how old were you when you made that hit?
Feeling nice, I was probably 18 or 19. Yeah. Yeah, that was, it jogged my memory back there. That's how that happened.
So tell us a little bit about the first line in the song. The use of the word adjudicator as a word being used in a calypso to speak about what's happening in the art form. Tell us a little bit about how that came about. You say that the song was written jointly between yourself and Super Blue.
Yeah,
tell us
well,
about that.
The first pass in the song with the lyrics, I think we were saying a musical expert. But when we went down and we played for Charlie, they had, you know, Charlie had some guys who used to be around and they would critique your stuff. And one of them say, it would be more appropriate to say an adjudicator instead of a musical expert. And adjudicator, the syllables and everything fit, so yeah.
Very good.
That's how that came up.
Thanks for sharing that little tidbit. So tell us a little bit about some of your other hits, some of your signature hits as the years progressed.
Yeah, so we went on to, I did an album with Ralph McDonald after that. I had some tracks on there, Kinky Soca and Jump With Me. And then I did Pan by Storm with Ken Professor Fillmore. But Professor and I, we went way back because I'd done an EP also in '84. It had a pan song on there, well, a so-called pan song. And Professor played some solos on there. And then I used to play in Manhattan, play the clubs, trying to showcase to get deals and stuff. And he used to play in the band. Yeah, so when he was doing his first recording, solo project, he called me. George Victory was arranging and doing some producing with him also. And George is one of my mentors. So they called me one morning. I had done a gig that night, and they called me and said they were doing this track for Carnival at Platinum Factory in Brooklyn. And they wanted me to do the vocals. And I said, come on down now, man, come on. So I got out of my bed. I was sleeping in a little late. I believe it was like a Sunday morning.
Okay.
So I went down and they meet me in the out in the lobby. And cause I didn't know the song or anything, and George run the song for me and thing, and we went in and cut Pan by Storm.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's Pan by Storm, and then there's something about Pan and Manhattan in another song. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, Pan in Manhattan, yeah, that was a little later, on in the 90s. Pan in Manhattan was written by a good friend of mine called Sidney Joseph. And it was his experience actually. I think he was on tour with Desperados at the time, and they came to New York City and they had a real good showing. They played on the South Seaport, and they played in different places, City Hall, and really good time. And that was his experience in Pan in Manhattan, and he asked me to vocalize it. I did put it on one of my albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about the calypso art form, apart from telling our stories, it's really about social commentary. So songs like Hold It, songs that deal with issues related to this transference of the music from calypso to soca, like Kinky Soca. And when we look at Dreaming, when we see the lyrics of those songs, and we see that it's really topical, but it's really conscious social commentary. Tell us a little bit about what led you to write like that, or to sing songs like that, or to be involved in content like that.
Well, that's calypso. You know, calypso have a wide spectrum of topics and situations. Hold It was I wanted to do a song with that was dance. It was up tempo, but have a message. A very potent message. It applies today.
Yeah.
Dreaming. My father wrote the lyrics to Dreaming.
Okay.
And he woke me up one night and he said, I have this song, but he had a different melody to it. And when I listened to the words, I say, man, I gotta do something different to this song. Because this song it have a wider appeal. But my father was a calypso man, so he had like so it wasn't hard, it came to me. I mean, the spirits bring it to me like that. So, and we had a good thing, you know, we had a good marriage, you know, so, and then actually, Gypsy was the record producer on that song. Gypsy, I was on his label, and he gave me free creative control in it. Because he knew, you know, we go way back, and he knew what I wanted to do and everything, and he liked it too. You know, so that was very important. Because some people wouldn't have allowed me to do it like that. So we had an acoustic guitar by Jeff Medina, and Jeff Medina actually was part of the arrangement. He did some of the arrangement on the song. Shout out to him in Florida. And Hold It too. He was on that too. He did some of the arrangement on it. And so we have some rock guitars and stuff in there. But I always wanted to appeal to a wider audience, you know. I think our music deserves that. Because we got one of the best dance music in the world. I've seen it over and over, time and time again. So I always wanted to appeal to a wider audience. And my people don't feel I'm trying to move away from you guys. I love you guys, but you know, always try to reach more people, you know, let them know about us, you know, that kind of thing. So that's how those songs, Kinky Soca, well, that's a ongoing discussion up to today.
Yes.
Music, the younger generation.
The calypso versus soca divide, and what's really happening with it.
And it shouldn't be a divide. It shouldn't be a divide. But in the song, I was defending the youth.
Right.
Right. So.
But calypso is mother music, and you know, one of its branches, of course, would be soca music.
Of course. Same tree, different branches.
Right.
Okay. We actually on the same branch. We're on the same branch, you know. But there's a conversation going up to this day. You still hear people talking about it. So we put it in song, you know.
And so those were some of your signature hits. And, you know, people know about designer, they hear about designer, they look for it online, and they're going to see those songs coming up. Tell us a little bit more about some of the other songs in your repertoire that you've produced and been involved in, wrote about. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I did I did some stuff with Michael Bootman. And I did a lot of music that haven't been released with different producers.
Are you talking about calypso and soca music? You're talking about?
I'm talking about other genres.
Okay.
Michael Bootman worked on the Jump With Me album.
Right.
He actually, Jump With Me was actually his song.
Okay.
And William Salter and Ralph McDonald of Just the Two of Us fame, they wrote the lyric to Jump With Me. And then I worked with Michael independently also with a song called Can't Stop Dancing. And he told me he just licensed it to some German company like 2 years ago.
Right.
And we did,
Congratulations.
yeah, we did that song back in 90, no, it was actually, whoa, that song is in the 80s,
Okay.
like 88, around there. But it's good music, and good music transcends time, so.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I did some stuff with Keet Diamond also, the producer of Caribbean Queen,
Okay.
Billy Ocean.
Yes.
Well, that stuff was unreleased. It never.
Okay.
Keet died
Okay.
in the middle of that project.
Okay.
So yeah, and I can't remember some of the stuff right now, but I've done a lot of music. I've worked with Cherryans
Okay.
out of St. Vincent. I've worked with Nicholas Baptiste out of Guyana. I've worked with quite a few people. Quite a few people.
So what is interesting about your career is that after having success in Trinidad and Tobago, you made a decision to leave the space and go to another space. Tell us a little bit about that and why you felt it was necessary after having reached, semifinals, finals, to participate in the competition. That is carnival, and that is part of the calypso tradition, to leave the shores and go abroad. What was the reasoning for that, and what did you hope to gain from becoming involved in a different space?
Well, the competition here is the ceiling here.
Yes.
I just thought that I could have done more. I thought I was blessed with that talent that I could reach, like I say, reach more people. I'm not putting down my people or anything like that, but I love Trinidad. That's the basis of who I am.
Yeah.
That's the root. I call it, Trinidad is home.
Right.
Wherever I may go, Trinidad is home. But I don't like to say left. I never leave, I've always recorded every year. Maybe not as aggressively promoting the stuff like I did before, but I never left. I never left Trinidad. I always...
Because, but part of the thinking behind that is people would say, okay, so you're visually seeing the artist or the performer taking part in competitions. And it was public knowledge that you would have left the shows in terms of making a decision not to be involved at that level, even though you were still recording.
Right.
So to some people today, some youngsters may not even be aware of who designer is, which is part of the reason why, we're trying to generate that type of interest again.
Right.
And so for some people it's, but where designer gone? And why did he go? Yeah? So that's...
Well, it's unfortunate that the competition have that kind of hold on you as an artist, on your growth. Because if you're not in the competitions, in some instances, you're not going to get airplay.
Right.
So you come here, you're not in the Soca Monarch, in the top 20 that they pick, or 15 or whatever it is. Your airplay cease to exist. Calypso competition, I guess, same thing. But I think we gotta find a way I don't have a solution, clear-cut solution. But the competition has definitely stunted the growth of calypso in its present form.
Right. And that's an
And I know that this is how the money, the sponsors, that's how you get sponsorship. But we gotta find another way because this music is beautiful, and people need to. The world needs to. We were once the top. You gotta say the top selling music in the world. The first album the first million selling album was a calypso album by Harry Belafonte. You know, so I don't want to say get back there because we're moving forward.
Right.
So looking, looking ahead with all the technology and you know, everybody could see what's going on in a matter of minutes. We got to find a way to present this music to appeal to everybody.
Agreed. And you know, one of the things about young performers in the industry is the stage at which they enter. And you had that opportunity to enter into the industry at a very young age. Tell us about that experience, because there's some people who have been trying, they enter it as adults. Some people may enter at the junior level, but you came in, as you mentioned before, in terms of the urging of your father having you in the environment, etc. Tell us a little bit about that experience coming in at your age and how that has really transformed your career.
Well, I was fortunate to have support of my family. And not everybody have that. Not everybody has that luxury. I would say that is a luxury because most of my family was on board. If not in the beginning, because my mom wasn't on board in the beginning. But most of my family, you know, they would come and support. And that's a whole weight lift off your shoulders, because I've seen people struggle.
Right.
Yes, they come in and fail in the auditions, and you know, and some of it is just lack of confidence because they don't have that support.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had that. You know, we come into the tents, and the first time they took me my father actually took me to the tent to see what it is about. I remember Beckett was singing. Beckett looked like a young dude that time. He had the afro, and my father, it was at the OYB, the original Young Brigade, on Ryson Road.
Okay.
And I went, and he asked me, he said, "You think you could do that?" And I say, yeah. And I did Auntie K,
Right.
and I won. And he took me in the tent. They had a tent called Regal, Calypso tent. So he took me, since I had won Auntie K, and he told them, I think Chalk, that's when Duke was the guys running that. And they put me on as a guest the night, and I sang. So I got a taste of the tent.
Right.
And then the next year, I think I won again. And he took me to Kingdom of the Wizards this time. William Monroe was the manager. And I sang the last 2 weeks of the season with the Kingdom of the Wizards. And then I went on to the Masters then with Shadow. So my experience was really good. You know, my old man used to be with me all the time. People know that, you know, everybody who know me, they always ask me for my old man. How your old man doing?
Right.
Well, you know, he passed away in 2017.
Right.
And I just lost my mom too, about a month ago. But you know, they were there for me. They were fully supportive.
And that family support is what really
That is
propels,
very
makes a difference.
Yeah,
in
that was
terms
very
of
important,
the
very important. Because,
performer.
you know,
Yeah.
Calypso had this stigma,
Right.
and they have this thing, our pan man, and you're going to Calypso tent to sing, and my mom was worried about that in the beginning.
Right.
So, well, after she realized, it's people, people just like us.
Yeah.
And she was cool. She was my biggest supporter.
And that's what's critically important.
Yeah.
So as you would have moved on to another stage in your career in terms of the scene, I believe that you would have gone to New York, yes? So what was that New York scene like for a young Calypsonian entering that space?
Yeah, well, the New York scene was another. That was another thing. I had support again there because my family was there, and so I used to be trying to get a recording. I would go by Charlie's and I would be hanging out there, and them guys. Charlie told me one time, he say, "You ain't ready yet." So I used to go to the studios. I would ask there was a guy working in the store. So I would ask him which studio they're going to. Because Charlie's a record in the best studios in New York City. So they would be at the Ranch or Quadrasonic or Eras. And he'd say, yeah, they're up on 48th Street. I would go up there and go in the session and be sitting down there and listening to everything. And one day, I believe he was at the Ranch, and one of the background singers didn't show up. And Charlie looked at me and he said, well, you say you could sing. So they put me in. And that was it. They start calling me for sessions. So I sang on a lot of hits, I sang on
vocals.
Yeah, I sang on Lorraine. I sang on Super Blue stuff. I sang on Johnny King, Swallow. Yeah, I'm on there. I'm on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff from the other islands. Yeah, I did quite a few. I had a reputation as a background vocalist at one point. Yeah. So that was another experience, and then, I wanted to do other music too, so I was doing other things and sending out demos, trying to get record deals. I joined some bands and, doing some different things, getting more experience in the business. Expanding my, helping mold my style.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because what becomes important for people in the industry today, young people who are looking on and who would want to know exactly what it takes. Tell me the story of someone so I could see whether that is my story or I could have a similar story. And one really wonders, when you made that decision to become involved in a different space, but continue, as you said, you hung around Calypso spaces.
Yeah,
you continued
yeah.
in that. Yeah. When you speak about...
Well, Calypso and other music.
Of course, at the same time.
Yeah, because, that was, you're out there in the world, so, I'm checking everything, but Calypso was always...
Right, dominant.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you continue to record.
Yeah.
And when did you record? Did you still record for the carnival season, or did you record mid-year, or was it for another festival? Because there's so many carnivals.
Right.
Of course, they would have been up and coming. Were you recording for those types of events?
Yeah, well, I recorded a couple songs for St. Vincent Carnival, which is in the summer, which is, I believe, in July. And with this band called Rebels. And did well. The songs did well. It was right in there. Almost won the road march one year. And I did some vocals for some other guys. In St. Vincent too. And I was recording. At that time, I used to get a lot of calls to do vocals for steel drum music for Panorama stuff. So Ray Hallman, I work with Ray, I work with Earl Brooks, I work with Tellison Ford. We did Prophet Apan for Desperados, and you know, so I was doing that too. But I wasn't in the party thing and the Calypso Monarch them years.
Right. So you had stepped away from competition.
Sort of, because I would, you know, I didn't used to come in time to audition for that stuff, you know. And the competitions, you know, I always had a thing about the competitions, you know, because. But when if you really want your song to be heard, you have to be involved in that. Unless they change the structure of it. But this is how it's structured right now. So if you want your music to be, or you want to be heard during the carnival season, you gotta compete.
Right. And that's understandable, because that's the history of the art form. You know, the Gael and the Barricade and who is the best, and you know, being king. Being crowned as Mary Monarch.
It's part of our culture.
It is
it's part of. It could be holding us back a little bit, but it's part of our culture.
One of the other things that I want to touch on is touring, because there are many aspects of working in the industry. It's not only the competition, it's not only the songwriting, it's not only the performance. It's also touring. Did you get an opportunity to tour? Did you get an opportunity to appear in spaces and places across the world?
Yeah, I've done that quite a bit.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've worked. I went to France with Kaiso Fusion. I did recently, well, probably about 7 years ago, I did Akron University with Ray Hallman. I played with a steel drum, all steel drums band. I have taken my show to the Montreal Jazz Festival, with my band, and I've done numerous colleges, and I haven't mentioned my band yet. My band is called Therapy. You can check us out on the website. We have done a lot of things together, and right now we do a lot of private parties and stuff in the summer, corporate events, that kind of thing.
So as you mentioned that, we have to introduce this Keet Styla to our audiences.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you became known as Keet Styla.
Well, I started using Keet Styla with my band. Maybe about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and I was looking for a name, because I know designer. Everybody know me as designer in soca and things. But with the band, when I play for different audiences, I'm playing for people who don't know who's designer. So I said, I want to change my name with how the industry changed, everything changed. You know, we digital now, we have all the stuff online.
And you're talking about evolution as well, evolution of a performer. Yes.
So I was looking for a name because I'm checking all these video games and all these things. I figured I gotta find this name, a name to suit this era, this time. I thought Keet Styla, spelling it a certain way too, and you know, catchy. You know, roll off the tongue easy. So I started using the name. Started recording under the name.
So you recorded under the name as an individual, or it is attached to your band Therapy?
Well, I did it individually too. Because I have a couple singles on YouTube that say Keet Styla. With Ray Hallman, with I think I have a duet too with somebody with it on there. Charmaine Yates, I believe. So Keet Styla, that's the name. So this year I came to Trinidad, last year, 2020. And I had these 2 calypsos that was written by Kurt Allen. And they told me they wanted me to vocalize these songs.
Right.
And they say you have to compete.
Because that's what we're all about here.
Right. So, so I wasn't in time to. My schedule didn't permit me to be in the tent.
Right.
So I came in and go in the thing they call the bullpen,
Right.
which I'm very familiar with.
Right, of course, having been, yeah.
Yeah. And I went in there and sang the 2 songs under Keet Styla.
Ah.
So when they say Keet, they call my name.
Yes.
I think some people were a little confused because they know me as designer and they see this guy coming and saying Keet Styla. You know, so it's something, you know, it's going to take a little time for them to get used to.
So is it that you have totally moved away from the persona of the sobriquet of designer and that you will be known as Keet Styla from henceforth? Or is it that when you perform within the Calypso space, you're going to be designer, and when you perform in a non-Calypso space, you're going to be Keet Styla? What is it?
Nah, I don't want that confusion.
Okay, all right.
Keet Styla and designer is the same person, you know.
Okay,
It's
all right.
One is you know, one evolved into the other. I
Okay.
came from designer.
Right,
Like I tell people, I say, well, I design it, now I'm styling it.
right.
Right? So, no, I don't want that confusion.
Okay,
It's one guy,
okay.
you know, one heart, one soul. And Keith is my name. Keith is my name.
Yeah,
I'm just spelling it different,
right.
you know. So, no, it's gonna be Keith Styler.
Okay.
But like I meet people on the street and they tell me, your name will always be designer to me. So,
Of course, and you
So,
have to expect that. Right?
yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
who you
I-
introduce yourself as.
right,
Initially.
right. So
Yeah.
I ain't mad at that. You know, you call me designer. It's the same guy. You know.
So another aspect of your career that I want to focus on is the whole issue of working on a ship. Because to some young performers, they may be looking and saying, listen, I am not interested in competition either. But I know that I have a talent and I want to reach international audiences. So I think I want to work on a ship. Tell us a little bit about the experiences that you would have had during those years working on a ship.
Well, I did that once. I did that once in maybe 2005. I did that with a friend, Robert Latouche. We were a duo on the Princess Cruises.
Okay.
And I think it was 2 ships. We went to another ship, but it's a good experience. And you know, it's again, you know, I used to do things sometimes just to stay sharp
Okay.
in the downtime. So I was on there playing guitar and singing and thing. But for young people, you know, you don't let anything hold back your dreams. If you love calypso, you love reggae, and you're from Trinidad, you love pop music, you know, you just go with the flow. How you feel, you go with it. We have international stars who was born in Trinidad here,
Right.
who doing different genres of music.
Yes. Yes.
You know, with music you can't stunt your growth.
Right.
If that's what you're feeling, do it. That's my thing. I love calypso,
Right, of course.
you know, so I would never stop doing that.
Right. Right.
You know, and I love other music too.
Right. Right.
So I would do that too.
And as you say that, you mentioned earlier about your band therapy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what is the type of genres that you perform with your
Well,
band therapy.
we you know, our base is Caribbean music.
Okay.
And Caribbean music could be Caribbean soul, could be, you know, could be a little salsa, a little reggae, a little bit of everything in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then we do the other genres too. We incorporate it and we, you know, we do our different arrangements of songs and we do it like that.
And this band is based in New York?
Yes, yes, yes. I have some wonderful musicians, you know.
Right. And what is the makeup of the band? What are some of the, you know, of the
Well,
players in the band?
Yeah, we have guys from we have a guy from Grenada, I have an American guitarist. We have drummer, Trinidadian, Guyana.
Right.
You know, we have, you know, sometimes we have subs and stuff. So guys from different places, St.
Right.
Lucia,
Right.
Barbados. We indiscriminate. It's a whole spectrum. You know, and if you feel, you know, how we decide to do our music, and you feel it, and you come and you lend your support to that.
So what about the whole aspect of, you said you're focusing on Caribbean music. So I anticipate that you obviously play reggae music.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is there any
Of
conflict? Is there any conflict in terms of the history and the background that you have, starting in calypso, having soca hits, and then having your own band and embracing Caribbean music? Is there any contradiction?
Not
or
at
any
all. I
issue?
always did embrace it.
Okay.
My household was that. We used to, you know, we used to play a lot of calypso, but my household, we listened to a wide spectrum of music.
Yeah.
That's why I told you, always music in the house,
Right.
not just calypso music.
Yes.
So, yeah, I always embrace my Caribbean vibes. Always, from Jump Street. So, this ain't no new thing
Okay.
to me.
As we think about, you know, people wanting to get into the industry, do you have any advice that you would give? Because of course we know that people are entering at various stages. As you mentioned earlier, some are starting as youth performers, some are coming in as, you know, teenagers, and some are coming as full adults. Is there any advice you would give, as you have had this career that has spanned over time in various spaces and locales? Is there any advice that you can give to them?
Well, first of all, I will say stay true to yourself. You know, you're coming to present yourself and express things your way. And you might have artists that inspire you. You know, and but you always stay true to you. You know, I've been in the studio and guys, I've been in the studio with Leston and stuff, and you would hear a young artist come and he say, I want my stuff to sound just like Scrunta or just like whoever had a hit the year before.
Yeah.
There's only one Scrunta and one Shadow.
Yes.
You gotta be you. You know, so that is my basic coming in the business. You know, you're coming to express yourself, and you know, you want to be you. You want to establish that so the people know, well, this is Johnny Battle, whatever
Right.
your name is. You know, the business is a tough business. It ain't no cakewalk. You gotta have, you know, the support is important.
Right.
So whatever support you have, be grateful.
Because, you know, a lot of people think that, listen, I'm talented, and all I really need is my talent. You know, if I don't have support, if I don't have anything else, my talent will take me. And so it becomes important for persons to understand that it's more than just talent, because there's so many talented people. What are some of the other you know, necessities that are required? Because you started to talk about support.
Right.
So in addition to support and talent,
Okay,
what
so
else do
I
people need?
Definitely. This is a business, you can't do it alone. And yes, your talent is paramount. Your talent is the thing. You become the, what do you call it? But your talent is very important, but management, good management is just as important.
Okay.
Getting good material,
So
is-
that is getting good songs,
songs,
working with a good producer,
right?
being wise
right.
about which producer
So,
to
right,
go to,
that-
depending
that
on the
blends
song.
well with you.
Right.
Yeah, so it's you can't, no man is an island here.
Right.
if you're going into the music business, now if you want to go and sing on the side of the street,
Right.
you know, and with a guitar and stuff, that's another story.
Right.
But if you want to be really successful, you need good management to make good decisions, to mold you, to nurture you, to have, you know, to bring out the best potential,
Right.
bring out your potential, the best of you. So, yeah, the young people, young guys and girls and young artists, yeah, the businesses is you need good management.
But a lot of people would say, just in response to that why would I want to get a manager if I know what I know? I know who I am. I know where I see myself. What does a manager add to the whole mix? Because, you know, you can have a booking agent who can just get gigs for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What is going to be the value added to having a manager? Because a lot of young people in the industry sometimes fail, because they don't have that support. They may not have had family support and they don't have a manager, but they have someone who can get gigs for them, or they themselves are their own booking agent.
Well, I forget to mention the agents,
Yeah.
and that kind of come under the umbrella management. But
Right.
yeah, you could have somebody in that capacity too.
Right.
You know, because yeah, you could have some guys now who's knowledgeable about the business. It's not
Right.
like before when people didn't know nothing about
Right.
copyright
Right.
and publishing and all that. The young generation, they know all about that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you can do that, then you can wear them hats.
Yeah.
But I've done it.
Yes.
Yeah, you could have a booking agent. You could have an agent. But I still do believe management is
What's the value
important.
that would be added by a manager or having a manager?
Well, the manager, I think, is more involved with you.
Okay.
Well, that's the role I
Right.
think it is. You know, they're more involved, they know you better. And I think they seek your interests much more than a agent would. And like I say, some people might need a manager and some wouldn't.
Right. So you have to know yourself, basically.
Right.
Yeah?
Because now everybody know everything is online.
Yeah.
You know, people know how to write their own bio.
Right.
They know they gotta go take a photo shoot.
Right.
You know, you gotta do your videos. They know all that stuff. So you probably would need the agents to book the shows.
Right.
To promote that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So the agents and the managers are very important.
Right. Okay. In terms of the length of time that you've been in the business, are you coming up on an anniversary? When did you start? How many years have you been in the business? You know.
Anniversary. Okay. So I probably, let me see, 70. So that's 78, 70. Let me put myself in 79. So 79. Yeah. So I started in 79,
Okay.
officially.
Okay.
And, so what is that? That's what? Almost 40 years? Yeah. So I guess I'm coming up on, we over 40 years.
Indeed, it is. Indeed.
So
So how do you feel?
I'm coming up on 50.
So how do you feel? How do you feel? So you are considered a veteran,
Yeah.
and to some people, but you're still performing. So
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
us a little bit about that divide. Yeah.
Well, I remember I met some guys one time, some years back, and they were surprised when they saw me,
Okay.
because they're hearing designer, and they thought I was a much older man. So yeah, that was one of the things. Yeah, but coming up on how do I feel? I feel great, man. I feel like I have a whole lot more
Okay.
to present.
Right.
I feel like the best is yet to come. That is how I feel
Okay.
right now. Like I tell people, I'm a lifer. So I ain't,
Explain that a little bit.
well,
Tell us a little bit about that.
I ain't gonna retire.
Okay.
I don't see that.
Okay.
I might go into another capacity,
Right.
maybe some kind of management or something. But I feel like I have a lot more to do.
And that is specifically you're talking with your band therapy and post.
Yes,
Yeah, getting
yes.
involved in other kinds of projects and that kind of thing.
Of course,
Yeah?
of course. You know, I've done some. I've done some. Well, I tried to get into acting when it was coming into, you know, the artists
Yes.
was doing, you know, there was acting and stuff.
Yes.
And I actually had a agent. Yeah, and I auditioned for some movies. Cool Runnings was one of them.
Okay. Okay.
And I auditioned for a couple of things. I did some readings for plays, doing that off-Broadway
so you're a
thing.
total entertainer.
Well, yeah.
So that's
I think-
really who you are. So we started off as, you know, with the Anti-K, and then we talked about calypso and soca.
Yeah, well, it
Now
was
we're
becoming part
right,
of
so
the
it's
business.
evolution.
Yeah,
It's
it was coming
evolution.
part of the the singers and stuff was becoming actors too.
Right.
And my ex-wife, she was instrumental in pointing that out to me.
Right.
That, you know, you might have to jump into this, yeah.
Right.
So I remember.
Management.
I remember.
The value of management.
I'm gonna give you a little story here. I was in the Soca Monarch final one year.
That's
And,
very interesting.
Yeah.
With what song and if you can tell us the year.
It might have been 94. But probably 94. So I had a song called Blow Your Whistle.
Okay.
So I'm in the final. And I get a call before I come down from my agent.
Okay.
Fellow named Mike Amado. So he say, what you doing now, Keet? I say, well, I'm getting ready to go perform. He says, so what you performing? I say, well, I'm doing the Soca Monarch. He says, Soca Monarch, what's that? I say, well, it's a big song competition, you know, best dance songs. And so he said, well, listen, this producer went through my book.
Right.
And he saw your face. Because I had headshots in the book.
Right.
And he wanted to see you like Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. So we talking, that was like Friday. So he's saying like the next, like Monday, the guy want to see me. So he said, if I was you, I'd take the next plane out. And
because you were in Trinidad ready,
Right,
getting ready to
right,
perform in the Soca
right.
Monarch, yes?
right. Or was it the semi? I know I couldn't leave,
Right.
but he's telling me leave.
Right.
He said, leave all of that behind. I say to myself, this man is a mad man now. So he said, I don't know what's this Soca Monarch thing, but
Yes.
you better get up here.
Yes.
No, you know what it is? It wasn't the final. It's the semi-final.
Finals. Okay. Yeah.
So you were saying, and I did make the final.
Right.
You know, so you were saying leave all that stuff and come right away. And I didn't. So I don't know what that role was.
Wow.
I don't know what it was.
Would you make that kind of decision again? If you had to do it all over again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would not leave. Because, you know, at that time I had space.
Yes.
I'm in the Soca Monarch
Yes.
semi-final,
Yes.
final. And that was it.
Yeah.
I'd worked so much months preparing for that.
Yeah.
You know, that side of me. The acting thing, I was looking at it as a side gig when I ain't doing nothing, you know, but you never know. You never know, you know. Then I had another thing where I had dreads.
Okay.
And this lady, she used to work at HBO, and she had this commercial, and she was trying to get me gigs, trying to get me booked and thing.
Right.
And she called me one day and she said, we have this commercial, some kind of taxi thing.
Yeah.
but the guy had to have dreads. So it so happened the night before she called me, I cut my dreads.
So tell us how that story ended.
Well, I told her, she said, "Oh no!" So I called one of my brethren who had dreads and I tell him, "Yo, we have a gig." I told her, I said, "Yeah, he was good."
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many things, man. But I now in the business, you gotta. You could be a singer, then you become an actor.
Right.
And sometimes you're more successful at that.
Right.
But I would do it again. My daughter is an actress.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
she into that, and she sings too. And,
Right.
you know, my son, he ain't really he not in the business. He,
Okay. As yet.
well, I don't know.
There's always time. There's always time.
But I ain't close the door on anything.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
I'd do something.
Right. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well is working with producers who have had a huge bit of success in Trinidad and Tobago. You would have mentioned Ed Watson, you would have mentioned Leston Paul. Tell us a little bit about your experience working with these producers, because I think that is also another aspect of the business, the experience that performers and artists have with particular producers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've worked with quite a few guys.
Okay.
All those pleasant experiences. I worked. The first guy I think that arranged music for me was the late Arthur Dicoto.
Okay.
And he was a character.
Okay.
He was, but he was really a great arranger. Then I worked with Frankie McIntosh, Leston Paul. I worked with. I think most recordings I did was Leston Paul.
Okay.
Then I worked with Cherry Haynes. My last recording was with Sean, Mr. Roots Mitchell from Grenada.
Okay.
So I've worked with Ralph McDonald. Worked with Keet Diamond. And it's a wide spectrum of people. You know, and Michael Bootman, Oliver Chapman.
Right.
You know, and always pleasant experience. Yours truly here,
Yes,
Mr.
yes.
Kenny Phillips
Yes. Of WACK fame.
of WACK fame.
Yes.
He's a drill master in the studio, you know, this guy here. Yeah.
I've heard some rumors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's always learning experience for me. I can't, no bad experiences at all. They always try to bring the best out of me, and
Right.
I, you know, hopefully bring the best out of them. You know, so Pelham Goddard, I work with him too.
Right.
Shadow produced me. My first recording actually was Shadow. Yeah. Big shout out to Shadow and family.
Yes.
Shalon. Yeah. Shadow was a instrumental guy in my career,
Right.
taking off in Trinidad. I will never forget him. There's always love with him. Yeah, so it always was a nice experience. And you see, I was always looking for songs that were. I was always trying to find myself. So,
Right.
you know, I work with the different guys to see who
Right.
best. You know, who are the best chemistry with.
Right.
Yeah, so I haven't worked with none of the young guys in the industry now,
Right.
but I'm open.
Anybody
know.
in particular, you know, as an older performer, even being called a veteran, and you're looking at the younger guys who are coming up, even some of the females as well. Is there anybody that you're looking at their work and you're saying, I would like to work with them, or you're looking at and you're seeing that raw talent and you want to speak to them in any way about the industry? Anything you want to share in that regard?
Well, I always keep my ear to the ground. So
Right.
I've been listening to the young guys, and there's abundance of talent.
Right.
I love voice. I love Kess.
Yeah.
Benja is one of my favorites.
Right.
And I listen to the production in the music, and I
Right.
like the productions that I heard. But I don't know the guys. I don't know the producers.
Right. Right.
I don't really know them.
Right.
So, but I listen to the production, and some of it is really, really good.
Alright.
So I'm open to working with.
Okay.
Moving on, you gotta go with the flow. So
Right. Right.
I'm open to working with them.
So you are here in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Do you have intentions of being on the music scene as a performer in Trinidad and Tobago in the short term, medium term? Are you thinking about, becoming more involved in the industry, or you're just going to continue with your recordings? What is the way forward for Keet Styla?
Yeah, I'm gonna be more involved here locally. I might be moving back to Trinidad in a little while,
Oh,
transitioning.
okay.
But in working in another capacity is a possibility,
Okay.
highly possible.
Right.
I have a lot to share.
Right.
So, yeah, moving forward is a positive in that direction, in being more visible here and stuff. But now with the internet,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, you don't have to be in a place.
Exactly.
You know.
Certainly.
Right, so, but being home, yeah, like I said, I just lost my mom.
Right.
And,
Condolences on her
yeah.
passing.
Thank you. And
Mhm.
I go be here some more. I was planning that for a little while,
Okay.
because she was ill. So
Okay.
I was planning to be here more,
Mhm.
but unfortunately
Yeah.
she passed.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here.
One of the things that I think is important for us to touch on, we are in 2021, but we've just come from 2020, the year of the pandemic.
Oh boy.
And we know that there would have been several challenges placed upon, performers and artists in terms of the entire entertainment sector, right? In terms of all of the activities, postpone gigs or cancel gigs depending on your location. Could you tell us a little bit about how you see the impact of the pandemic and moving post-pandemic, how, entertainers from your position could, learn from the experiences?
Well, it looks now like it's gonna be a virtual thing for a while. Last year was a rough, really rough year for everybody in the industry. But I think that going forward, we're going to see some new development in terms of how we present our music to the world, and everybody doing it in a certain way.
Yes.
I like live music. I like to play with a live band.
Right.
I've been doing that right through. So I wouldn't like that to stop,
Of
but
course. Yes.
the way how things is done now, you had to be able to be flexible
Right.
and adapt to certain things. So let's see with this vaccine,
Yeah.
how things gonna pan out. If we will be able to come back to some, well, I should say not come back, but go forward with some kind of normalcy.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it. It could be exciting because you know you're breaking new ground, and that is always an exciting thing. But you don't know what is gonna be born out of that. But I've been always flexible and always been able to adapt. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for me. I look forward to it.
Okay. All right. So, as we come to a close of this interview, can you share with us any, your projections, the way forward, perhaps for your career, anything that you haven't mentioned before, or anything that you see or you would like, any sort of dream that you have for the industry, in particular focusing on Trinidad and Tobago and the music landscape here?
Well, Trinidad has so much talent here. I was talking to Mike Bootman a couple of days ago, and he was telling me how he's blown away by the talent. He's working with some guys, and I would really like to see our music on par with the other genres. I would. We've been talking about Grammys and all kind of things for so many years. And I would love to see all of that, and for the music to have its own category on iTunes, and all that good stuff. I'm looking forward, and I think it's possible. I think we're closer now. Because it was some dreams that was far away when I started. I used to play in the clubs in Manhattan back in the 80s, and they used to ask me, well, what type of music is that? But they like the music. The music's, we got the greatest, best dance music in the world. But now everybody, people hearing soca, you're hearing stuff on the radio, and not just you're hearing stuff on major radio. Some of these producers that incorporating the beats. You're hearing soca. They ain't calling it soca, but you're hearing it. You're hearing the influence. So, things, we closer. We closer to becoming, coming into our own. And I am not I'm not a purist. I'm a realist. And, for the guys who want to fuse the music with the thing, if you, do it well, do your thing, do it well. Do it to the best of your ability. For the purists, you do it well. For the veterans who think the music shouldn't change or shouldn't be compromised. You do your thing too and do it well. That's just my view. We gotta reach as much people. So whatever form it is, just do it to the best of your ability.
Good wishes.
Oh, of course.
Good wishes all around.
Of course.
And so that is a great point to end this interview. And again, I want to thank you, Keet Prescott, aka Designer, and otherwise known as Keet Styla.
The original designer. There's a guy named Designer now. He's a rapper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the original.
So thank you very much for spending some time with us today and for sharing, about your life, your introduction into the industry, calypso, soca, and beyond. So we really appreciate you, and we thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.